Welcome to A Few Thoughts About, the show where we dig into thinking and how it shapes our experience of life. Each week, I share insights and observations to get you thinking. No long lectures, just quick, thought-provoking episodes to shift perspectives so that you can make the change you want to make. Let's get into it. Well, hey, before we start the show, I want to let you know that if coaching is something you want to try and you're interested in talking to me about it more, I have one-on-one coaching slot left. No matter what it is that you want to change, if you want to change your relationship with alcohol, you want to change the way you think or the way life feels, or you just feel like doing some deep dive coaching into your thoughts and the way things feel is going to be beneficial for you, which hint, hint, it will be, I would love to talk to you. So there is a link in the show notes that will bring you to a page where you can book some time with me. I love having these discovery calls. It is very low pressure. It's just a fun chat, right? I want to know about you and kind of what's going on with your life. I will talk about my process and how it works. If it's a fit, great. We'll talk about getting started. If it's not, I'll help you find something that is a better fit. No matter what, I want you to leave that call with a clear next step. So I have one-on-one coaching slot left. If you would like that slot, go to the link in the show notes. It would be fantastic to work with you. All right, let's get going. Well, hello there, and welcome to A Few Thoughts About Distraction. You know, I wanted to make this episode because I feel like distraction can get a bad name sometimes, and I am here to defend it. I'm here to defend it, certainly when it comes to the process of quitting drinking, but, you know, actually with pretty much anything. Like, I think, obviously not distraction from like something you need to focus on. Like if you are taking a test in school and you're distracted, that's not what I mean. But in general, there tends to be this conversation, this idea, which I think is really valuable, but like a lot of things in this sort of quit drinking industry, like you can take a good idea too far, right? So there tends to be this idea of like, oh, I need to sit with and be with my emotions. I need to fully feel everything. And, you know, my answer to that is yes, of course, yes. And as a matter of fact, for a lot of us, alcohol is a thing that, you know, like took us out of feeling that. We used it as a tool, right? We used it as a tool to feel differently. And so, yeah, there's a huge part of this process of quitting drinking or quitting smoking or losing weight or really any sort of, you know, healthier change. Like there is a piece of this where we absolutely do need to sit with those emotions. We need to be with those emotions. We need to allow those emotions, however you want to say it. All of that stuff is really, really good. However, no one says you need to do that all the goddamn time. Right? No one says like, oh, I'm going to flip a switch and quit drinking, and now I'm never not going to feel what's on my mind, right? Like I'm always going to just go right into what the feeling is. I don't think this is true. Like, I don't think it's true that like you need to sit around with that sadness or anger or frustration or depression or whatever it might be that's coming up for you. As a matter of fact, I've seen this backfire like massively, which is why I want to defend a distraction here. You know, I remember I had a client, I tell this story, I might have told the story on the podcast before, but her and I had this big conversation one week, and we talked about the idea of allowing. Like I just wanted her to allow. And that's a big piece of it, right? This was an alcohol client. And, you know, for a lot of us, those of you who have gone through it or are working on it know that like we will avoid. We'll try so hard to, you know, not feel something. We'll want to escape, right? Hence booze, right? And so we're having this conversation that like she can handle whatever comes up for her, and that her job really is to just feel it, right? Just sit with it. I use the term allow. Sit with it to me sounds like focusing on it. I don't mean that. I don't mean like, you know, feel sad and, you know, like sit there on it. No, what I mean is just like allow it to hit you. Anyway, we have this conversation and she is open to the idea, right? And then she goes away. Fast forward 1 week. We get on Zoom on the next Thursday and she just is not doing well. Like she looks tired, like she looks like there's really something on her mind. And I'm like, what is, like, are you okay? You know, what's happening? And she says to me, I am so goddamn tired of feeling it. She's like, every single emotion that's come up, every annoyance, every frustration, everything that's happened, it's just, I just allow it and I just sit with it. And it just ends up being so heavy and I'm just so tired. So like, Scott, when does this stop? Like, when does it get easier? And I realized in that moment, I was like, oh, you took me incredibly literally. Like this is like this person, and she knows who she is. So if you're listening, hello, but she is an overachiever type and will take something like this and just like really do it. When I say allow, what I mean is like allow emotions to hit you and experience them. What I do not mean is allow them to ruin an entire week or an entire month. And I think a lot of times we in this world, people start to think like, oh, that's what I need to do is I just need to allow my emotions. I just need to feel my emotions. Yes and no. Yes, in the sense of let yourself feel it, right? Don't run away from that initial onslaught, whatever that might be, right? The frustration, the sadness, the anger, you know, these things that come up, these things that maybe we've been repressing for a long time with alcohol. Feel it, experience it. Hell yes. But then let it go. And this is where distraction comes in. This is why I am sticking up for distraction in this episode, is that, you know, we tend to allow these emotions and feel them, but then we end up like my client, where it's like we're just feeling all these emotions all the time. We're just kind of like all over the place, and we don't really even know, like, all right, what should I be doing? What shouldn't I be doing? Like, how do I? It's just this constant feeling circus. Now, a lot of you have heard me talk about this, and there's going to be a lot more of this coming in the future, but we live in the feeling of our thinking, right? We don't live in the feeling of the outside world. So if we start to feel angry, for example, that anger is coming through our thinking. We're thinking about things, whatever it might be, right? And it could be a thought that just popped into our head. It could be that we saw someone, doesn't matter what it is, but our thinking is kind of stirring this up for us. Now, when we allow, or quote unquote sit in it, the goal is to feel what's going on. But very often what starts to happen is we start to focus more and more and more on the thing that's making us mad. So our thoughts are causing a feeling of anger, and then we just keep our thoughts on the thing that's making us angry. What the hell do you think is going to happen if you do that? You're just going to get more and more and more angry, right? Like it doesn't allow for it to move on because you're just hyper focused on it. I like to talk about thought like a river that's constantly flowing through our heads. And when a thought comes up that causes an emotion, let's stick with anger, right? I have this thought, it makes me angry. We dam up that river, right? Because we think, oh gosh, that thought is something that I need to do something with. Like it's important. This emotional cue means that there's a problem for me to solve or a thing for me to fix, which very often there isn't. And so we dam up that river. That river can't keep flowing. And then we just see, that thought recycling in front of us over and over and over. And we're focusing on it and we're feeling it and we're focusing more and we're feeling more and we're focusing more and we're feeling more. You get the idea. The goal isn't to torture ourselves by feeling a certain way, right? The goal isn't to create a scenario where every single thought that creates a feeling we have to sit with and feel and hyper focus on. That is a great way to drive yourself nuts. The goal is to recognize it, to see it, but then to let that river keep flowing. Here is where our friend distraction comes in. See, you're not in charge of the thoughts that pop into your head. I mean, if you are, please write me and tell me. I want to know how you do that. But I know that I'm not, and I've yet to meet anyone who is. And so what distraction does for us is it allows us to kind of look upstream, if you will. It allows us to kind of let go of that focus of what's in front of us and just kind of put our focus elsewhere. And then new thoughts start to populate our head, right? So distraction is not the same thing as running from a drink or running to a drink to not feel something. Distraction is not the same thing as running to food to not feel something, or running to alcohol or gambling or porn or whatever it is you might be working on. Like, that's not the same thing. So when we allow, what we do is we can feel the emotion, but there's a limit to how much we need to do that. We don't need to be there and sit in it and make ourselves feel miserable. And the next step after allowing is distracting, right? And what that distraction does is it pulls that dam out and it allows the river to keep flowing. And if you imagine, say, like logs floating down a river, when you dam up the river, there's like a whole pile of logs that are right there, right? So it seems really intense. And when you first pull the dam out, there's going to be more logs than usual, right? More of those bad thoughts than usual that are floating by, but eventually it calms down. And so if we can allow ourselves to be distracted by something fun, by something funny, by something engrossing, and by the way, it doesn't matter if it's Netflix or reading or a conversation or going for a walk or playing video games, like it doesn't matter what it is. But if we sort of shift our focus, that helps us pull that dam out. And then we don't need to experience this incredible, intense emotion that we get by just focusing on it. So I am firmly in the camp of distraction. I think distraction can be a wonderful thing. We have to allow and then distract, right? Allow ourselves to feel things, but then recognize when we're just sitting in it, when we're just stirring the pot, allow ourselves to get distracted, to go towards something we want to do. That will allow the river to start flowing again, and then everything can feel better. Well, there you go. Tell me what you think about this. Do you like distraction? Did it help you in your process? Are you in the middle of it? Do you have a hard time distracting yourself? That might be an episode that I'll be doing soon as well. Head on over to scottpinier.com/podcast. You can always catch up with me there. There's a place where you can send me a note. You can also suggest episode ideas. So I'd love to hear from you. Whatever it is, scottpinier.com/podcast. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you again real soon.